Okay, here we are again, folks. We have a shattered S3 that I promised I would show you, and no real dings on the mid frame, but we do have some glass missing here. Interestingly enough, the laminate, the color laminate, is still intact. Screens that are shattered like this are much more difficult to bring up all in one piece, and unfortunately what winds up happening is the glass fragments, of course, and you have to bring up each piece individually, and while lifting up the piece, one piece stays low as you bring up the other piece, and inadvertently that edge that's still against the digitizer can scratch it. So it's very difficult to do a phone like this without putting small tiny nicks in the digitizer. Certainly we're going to try our best to avoid that, and one of the ways I found with these shattered ones as well is, of course, using some good 3M or Scotch packing tape to lay over it as we lift to stop shards or small fragmentation. And also, if you remember, you watched my last video, you remember I used a dental pick to break away the side adhesives and pull up. In cases like this, sometimes you can actually, as you heat, break it away, lift and pull, and it helps you begin to separate the LOCA or the OCA, the liquid clear adhesive. So we'll begin the same way we began on the last one, by heating, and I'll use my touch feel method. I also do have a infrared, and I noticed I usually work at about that 180 to 190 degree temperature. So if you really want to use a temp gun, that's about a good temp where the OCA or LOCA will come up a little bit easier. So we'll begin. Again, I'm working with my, actually it's a Note 2 camera sitting on top of a magnifying lens, a work light magnifying lens. And so if it goes out of focus intermittently, I apologize. It's set to auto, and hopefully it'll focus in quickly. So I'm just moving it around and feeling. We'll take some temperature readings. So we're up to 1012. Try to heat the edges up as well. Important, of course, again, for the double-sided adhesive tape that's used. And then we'll work on the center. And we'll be using a razor blade, a metal razor blade, to begin the lift. I actually started reusing them again lately just to get the glass started, and then, of course, I quickly wedge with the plastic. So you just got to go in on an angle, so like this, so as not to nick the outer frame bezel, or mid frame as it's called. That's pretty warm now. 153. I'm going to come up a little bit more. Now, the packing tape, again, I recommended this a long time ago on XDA, but the packing tape sometimes is difficult. Even though it's clear, in cases like this, I have to pull it away so that I can see the individual shards coming up, because it does sometimes impair vision. However, if the laminate of the glass stays together, the laminate underneath stays together, we can keep that packing tape on. Now we're getting close to removal temp. Sometimes the packing tape, again, just impairs my vision, and I have to pull it away. Okay. And there we go, about 182 degrees. And we'll always start, and you see how I'm coming in on an angle, so as not to damage the mid frame. And again, my angle is up as I lift, and you can almost see the blade cutting into the laminate. And the reason I'm doing that is because I really want to separate the glass from that black double-sided tape. I could see the blade moving inside the CD, and there's the loca just pulling away. And I'll back off a little bit, come in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to pull away and go to the other side. Okay. So far the laminate is holding. We're going to heat it again. Temp has probably dropped pretty considerably, as you can see. So we did get some OCA or loca separation here. Very, very little up in the top right-hand corner. And that blade does get hot. Woo-wee! Okay, we're back. Just a brief pause there for my daughter. And you can see the loca separating, hopefully. So obviously the plastic razor blades are much thicker than the metal, so therefore you put a greater deal of pressure when you're lifting. So you have to be a little bit careful, a little bit slow. It would really be nice to be able to remove this all in one piece. I had a white one the other night I had to do. I didn't have time to tape it. It was a piece-by-piece removal like this, and it literally took me 2.5 hours. One tiny nick in the digitizer you could hardly see. It's a very slow process. I don't think anyone wants to watch a 2.5-hour video, but well, maybe there are people out there. And just reheating again. Heat and wedge. Heat and wedge. That's the key. Okay, so now the center is releasing. You want to go on there and make sure I push it all the way up and we get the black adhesive to release. So again, the laminate is connected, but the glass certainly is broken, so I have to go really slow here on the individual cracks, which is really hard to see. It's even hard for me to see right now. I don't know how it is with you guys. And we're going to get some packing tape on it now and hopefully keep it together. Now, the only thing with the packing tape as well is, again, it can make it hard to see. It also, as I'm heating, a little shard right there. It also, as I'm heating, sometimes kind of bubbles up. So, if you overheat it, and then that impairs vision. So, it can be tricky to get enough heat in there with the tape on. When you heat it slow enough, the tape should sort of, you would hope, melt into the glass and create its own laminate to hold it together. Go around the edges a little bit, try to heat them up. Now, I mentioned in a response to a post to somebody, I'm not sure where it was, you can see a difference, and let me zoom in here. I want to show you a difference on how the loca sometimes comes apart. Here it's clear. It clearly is releasing here. This one you can almost see a whitish color. Now, when that white happens, that means that most of the loca is staying attached. Let me bring this down. Most of the loca is staying attached to the digitizer. It's not coming up with the glass. And in cases like that, you do have to proceed a little bit slower. As for whatever reason, the glass just doesn't release the way it should. And there we go. There's a release. So we got through that part. Going down slow. Let's take a temperature. A bit cold. All right, and we're going to begin again heating. Please forgive any background noises you might hear. They're all tape recorded. I'm kidding. So far so good on it staying together, which is awesome. Making my life easier, that's for sure. And our tape goes down to right here. The clear packing tape we put on. Separation happening, very nice. Very nice. Alrighty. Okay, so now we're going to actually put on another piece of tape, a little bit lower down. Okay, and then we'll begin to heat again. You can see sometimes, well, maybe you can't see, but sometimes visually, again, that tape just impairs, so it's kind of a case-by-case basis. Just take a quick temperature reading. Still nice and hot, 170-ish. You can see I move down pretty fast. I'm pretty comfortable with the way it feels. We go a little bit quicker before it cools down. There we go, right down. Just about to release at the bottom. Once it hits that bottom, it releases. A little bit strong. So now we're going to push the blade in. Sometimes the easier way to get that bottom to release, just push the blade in. Remember, we're not dealing with one solid piece right now. Be careful. She should lift. And there's your buttons. Now, I don't recommend people do this, but I'm a little more comfortable. I have a jeweler screwdriver here that I'm going to help me to remove the button. Please don't use a metal razor blade. I did a while back and damaged this, and I'm 1 for 1 replacing the soft touch buttons. Very, very difficult. So you could see where I told you where you got this whitish kind of look, and you could see what it looks like on the laminate part of the glass, and then you could see what's left over here on the phone. So again, very difficult, and you could see I had enough heat in, so I don't think it was a heat issue. And you see how nice that peels up, though. At any rate, we got it up in one piece, which is pretty incredible. Made life easier. And now we just go through the basic Same steps as we did in the other video, and removing the remnants of the optical clear adhesive. Okay, the clean is the clean. Again, we're just using alcohol. A little bit of local lift up here I want to take off without really taking away the adhesive. This came up so clean. There is one piece of glass that I see left here. It's right there. Let me bring this up to look at it. So I'm mistaken, that's not a piece of glass. Thought it was. Now, someone on XD had mentioned that some of the glass coming in from China, these proximity sensor holes were darkened, and his wasn't working, or hers wasn't working properly until they cleared this out. I just want to show you, if you look at a stock piece of glass, it is in fact grayed out. If you compare it to the hole where the camera is, it's clear. You could see it right there. There is a little bit of tint over it. You may not be able to make it out on the camera, but certainly here face to face with my eyes, it is grayed out a little bit. Maybe they used a different laminate, a thicker laminate, I'm not sure. I've never had a problem with the proximity sensors on the glass that I get from China. And again, as one of the posters had asked the question, where do I get my glass? I just buy it in bulk. I make sure it has the Samsung logo. I generate a conversation with the seller, ask them a few questions, and then it's price. It's price and clean glass. If it's not clean, I won't deal with them. I've gotten some glass in the past that wasn't very, very good, and of course got my money back, and I never dealt with them again. Alright, so this looks pretty clean. I'm going to pause it from here rather than have a super long upload. I will clean with a little bit of alcohol, isopropyl, and I'm going to clean this up. If you watch the other video, it's pretty much a 2 or 3 step process depending. And then I'll make my border with the 3M 2mm tape. Make a full rectangular border so it stops dust from coming in. Maybe I won't pause for those of you who are really bored. No one watching. Right, a little bit of smudging going on. Let's clean it up. Alright, let's just move this. We'll turn it. Well, you get the idea. As long as you're using a good cotton cloth, you do not have to worry about scratching. Yeah, that's pretty clean. I'm going to come in with my lens cloth and fold it up nice and tight. I'm going to smudge up here. We're going to work that out. Now this one really looked bad. It really looked like it was going to be a shatter. The white phone that I did the other day, the breaks were through the laminate. Now, I don't know if it was a different glass. I mean, it was factory, but, you know, I don't know if I told you this in the last video, but out here is the Gorilla Glass. This is certainly a layer. Let me come back here and show this. Out here is certainly the Gorilla, the non-scratch. Here, without a doubt, is more of a plastic. It's kind of a laminate. It's not glass like it is here. So if you try to clean this on a fresh piece of glass that comes in from the factory, I have them here, and you use hard circular motions here, you will scratch this side. You'll put micro scratches in it without a doubt. So it is a laminate. So don't think that both sides are the same. They're not. I just want to make that clear. All right. Yeah, I'm not working in a clean room. Now, for those of you that aren't comfortable removing, this came up very, very good. I didn't have to put a lot of alcohol on it. I don't see a lot of loca buildup. I'm going to show you how to build a border on this phone without actually removing the side adhesive strips that are all connected all the way around. It can be done. I know I've said it in the last one, it builds it up too high. But if you put it on an angle, you can accomplish it. Again, if you're not comfortable and you want that extra maybe adhesive in there. So this is just a different way. I've done it before this way. I may have said it built it up too high. But in certain cases you can get away with it. And right now I just want to show you how to do it with it on. So again, I want you to focus in on, I'm going to zoom this in. We have a gold border, which is the edge of the digitizer, and then, or the AMOLED LED, and then we have this black border, and then of course you have the bluish black. So as long as your double-sided tape is on this black and not going into the blue area, you will not see it. So there is enough room to build a nice border out of double-sided tape to maximize your adhesive properties to keep that new glass on. And here we go. I'm just going to come just above. Now notice, going a little bit inside the line here. And what I mean by the line is the line of the black, the original black adhesive. Okay. Hopefully we'll finish this whole video without two parts. Were asking me comments on YouTube, where is the finish of the video? I said, well, I had a comment back, it's a two-part video. There's always one person, right? Okay, there is some loca here, I didn't get it all off, and I'm going to have to roll it off. And this is the ribbon cable area. You got to be careful here. And remember what I told you, there is a plastic covering. You should be able to make it out. Let me zoom in. Don't want you to take that plastic covering off. You see it. You can barely just see it right there. And you take it off, I mean, it's not going to damage the ribbon cable, but it does act as a sort of a spacer. And I think the people that do remove it tend to run into that problem where their button disappears sort of below, or their home button sits below the glass, unlike stock or OEM. So we're going to cut, flip her around. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to go across. Okay. You gotta just clip that there. Okay, so tops across. A couple of fingerprints, we're going to fine tune that. I'm going to show you again, as I showed you the last time, to cut a small piece here. And this is how we're going to put the buttons in place, so we don't need to mess with them when we're putting the glass down. Since they actually do sit in these pre-cutouts once the glass is actually in place from the factory anyway, it's really not an issue to do this. I had said that you may see a difference in brightness, but I'm telling you, it is so marginal you can't even see it. It's barely noticeable. There's one piece, just taking off the double-sided. Okay. Fold, fold, and there you go. And your buttons are ready. Okay, so I'm going to raise this up a little bit. I get in here with my cloth. Get some smudges on the bottom you want to clean away. So you can see it can be done by leaving on the sides. This one came up so clean that I was able to leave the sides on. And so I do that once in a while. And for those of you that may have questioned, is it necessary? You can get away with it sometimes. Clean those corners out. I'm going to go on with my fingernail here. That looks really clean. A little bit of dust. But before we lay the other glass down, we'll make sure we clean the dust out. Okay. Okay, my glass is ready. And let's give this a final clean. Try to get that dust. And now we'll come in with the pick and we lift the sides first, because I like the top and the bottom to seal the corner as I overlap it. There you go, there's a sealed corner now. Got to get in between it and get it started. Sometimes it's a little bit of a bear. So this side's giving us a little bit of trouble, so we'll go to this side and we'll get this side going. There you go. Okay, so we have a top seal. And now the most important seal to stop dust from coming in is definitely this one here, because of the fact that this is not sealed with adhesive. Dust can get into the viewing angle from there. So just looking it over, it looks pretty clean. I'm going to go one more wipe out of your angle. I really should get better lighting. Work lights serve me well, but all right. Let's drop the glass. Gotta be careful. Okay, so and look over. A couple particles of dust. And it's always a little touchy the last second to seal it down before we, and there it is.